Joe Biden ran under multiple platforms. The neat thing about the Democrats, they just love giving stuff away, right? They're super big on giving out money and free schooling. And, I love Bernie Sanders with free college for everybody. Man, the theory sounds awesome, okay? But until you figure out how to pay for it, it may not be a good idea. So the title of today's show is how Joe Biden's proposed $15,000 tax credit will destroy the real estate market as we know it today. I know. And listen, this is not going to be anti-presidential. Joe Biden is, in fact, my president because I'm a proud member of the United States of America. The race is over. I disagreed. We voted him in. That's how the system works. But I got to tell you, this is a horrendous idea. Okay, now here's the thing. As a foreclosure deals coach, do I want the market to collapse? Let me think. Yeah, kind of. I mean, we got to be honest about it. At the end of the day, it's a horrible idea, but if you're listening to this side of the show as a fellow real estate investor, it could be the greatest thing that ever happened to us. But let's talk about why it's a bad idea. Okay, on the surface, giving buyers a $15,000 tax credit to buy properties seems like a good idea. Okay, you incentivize the market, but I gotta tell you, we did this once before under President Obama.
Okay.
Now, a lot of you may be too young to remember that regime, but at the time they were offering an $8,000 tax credit to potential home buyers. And I gotta tell you, I have never had more success in the real estate industry than I had during Obama's tenure as $8,000 tax credits. People were beating themselves up to buy properties, okay? And they were all doing so, partially because they needed a place to live, which was the idea to incentivize the market, right? And partially because, hey, free money.
For sure.
Right? If you're gonna buy a house, you might as well get paid for it. Right? So during the time that it was going on, it was absolutely awesome. But we didn't know, like we know now, how artificially inflating any market is long-term going to be disastrous for the market that you're screwing with.
Check, 1 2 1 2.
Turn it up.
Welcome to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast.
The tides are turning. The time is now.
Your home for the mindset, methodology, and tools needed to invest in foreclosures.
Don't you dare buy a house. Buy a deal. You need to get into this right now.
Yeah.
And now your host, the Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum.
Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Mr. Donnie Corum.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this studio audience is they're always so excited to hear from me.
I mean, you're the Foreclosure Deals Coach. They're here to, they're sitting down with their notepads and everything.
They're ready to go, right?
Take notes and things like that. So, I mean, they should be excited. Come on, guys.
I totally agree. I'm glad you're excited. And that's the sultry sound you're hearing right now is none other than the voice of my executive producer and Mr. Billy Badass, Jonathan Winston, up in the house.
I am, in fact, Billy Badass, just in case y'all didn't know. But
there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, man, it's been
how's it going? You good?
I'm good, man. It's been a good January. So I know that in one of our previous episodes, we kind of mentioned a little bit about the text messaging system that we've been using.
Yeah.
Launch Control, continuing to use that. Really been enjoying that and actually getting some traction with a couple potentially motivated sellers. Have somebody that I might go check out and see tomorrow or maybe later today. So
Love it.
I'm excited about that. And then something that I don't know if we want to keep it under wraps for a little bit longer or, kind of start sprinkling the knowledge of it out there a little bit more for people. But something that you introduced me to, the Go High Level app. I've been spending a lot of time in that and developing some pretty nice marketing systems and and different funnels that we're going to be able to employ for these flips when we get them. And either we're going to be able to use that stuff to sell homes, both sell wholesale properties that we acquire before we have to do the renovations, or once we get them listed, we're going to be able to market out and get the information out there to people who are looking for new homes to, stimulate that buyer talk and those buyer conversations. So,
well, I guess a couple things on that. Like number one, like absolutely want to get the word out there. We are an open book here on the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast, and the tools and stuff that we use. Remember, we're the methodology, the mindset, and the tools to be a successful real estate investor here on this show. If you're just tuning in for the first time, but yeah, open book, man. I got to tell you, this go high level thing is changing the game of marketing out there. I do want to though post on the show my little my affiliate link for Go High Level. If you're thinking about trying it out and getting your marketing automation set up, let me tell you, man, this is going to be, it's game changing, right? I mean, all the stuff we can do in following up with our sellers, the text message campaigns, the email campaigns, all built into one solid marketing system. I'm loving it. It looks like you're really jumping in with both feet on that, man. Like what stuff have you gotten done on the automation piece?
So we've got a number of campaigns that we're using to stay in contact with our potential leads and sellers and buyers that we're talking to. So with those, the campaign would be basically just a chain of automated tasks and events that you set up to reach out and maintain contact with your leads and your people that you're working with. So I've set up a lot of different ones of those. We talk a lot about the foreclosure list with foreclosure.com. And, we mentioned things like HUD Home Store where you can go and find different foreclosures, incorporating those things and those value pieces into our campaigns, as well as, using great copy and good questions to determine the buyers and the sellers' motivations to figure out exactly what they're looking for and how we can help them has been really great. I know that if you're in real estate, you've probably heard of Zapier. And with that, those are basically triggers that, start automated actions for you. And Zapier is where you can make those triggers and connect them and connect to other apps. Well, High Level's got all that functionality in one place, and you can create as many triggers as you can think of to make sure that once people get into your campaigns through your landing pages, your squeeze pages, or your funnels, you create these triggers to make sure it's leading them down the path that you want them, which is for us ultimately either buying one of our deals. If they've got a home that they're looking to sell, we're looking to talk to them and figure out exactly how we can give them the best offer and that works for both sides to
absolutely
make it make it great for the seller. And just the capabilities and the things that are locked into it, like it's ClickFunnels on steroids, basically.
We could go all day on this, and I do want, if you're looking to get started with that, please do use the affiliate link. We'll post it into the show. Come to the free 7-day trial, and listen. And once you become part of the Foreclosure Deals Coach family, we're going to give you the snapshots, the pieces that we use to market out there to get potential buyers for our investment property. This is a show for real estate investors by real estate investors. Okay, so last year my team and I did 40 flips. Okay, we countless number of wholesale deals. I don't know the exact count. We got to go back and look. But the combination there came down to having the right marketing automation tool. And obviously, we want to get into the meat and potatoes of the show. But thank you so much for bringing that up, man, because I do want to get our affiliate link out there, get you involved with Go High Level. And let's talk about getting some of your marketing automation set up as well with a free benefit of just being a listener here to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. With that, let's get off the commercial for a bit. Let's talk for a little bit about something that I'm both upset about and a little unsurprised. Okay, let's start with I'm not upset, maybe is the wrong term. I got to tell you, election season has recently ended.
Oh, thank God. Thank you, Lord. Oh, my God. Wow.
And that was fun. That was a fun time, wasn't it? And we have a new president, Joe Biden, in the office. And I got to be frank with you. As presidents go, if we compare the new president to the old president, if I had to pick a guy to go have a beer with, all right, I'd probably pick Joe Biden. He just seems like a nicer, more likable kind of dude you want to hang out with. I got nothing against Trump. Trump's a killer, man. Trump, the greatest real estate investor, arguably, in history. So we can't argue with the success of the former president. And honestly, I voted for the former president. But now that Joe Biden's in office, which was a surprise, if you listen to the show, you know that I was alluding to there's no way Joe's going to win when we are at the top of the real estate market, the stock market. Despite coronavirus, we didn't go into complete turmoil. It was hard to argue with the success of our previous president, okay? But here we are under a new presidential Democratic regime. Okay, I didn't think it was going to happen. I wouldn't have believed if you had told me a year ago that Donald Trump would not be president in January of 2021. But here we are. That's the reality. Get used to it. And for those of you out there still belly aching about it, let it go, man. Like, seriously, like, it's over. Like, this race is over. We have Joe Biden as a president. That being said, obviously, when you're campaigning for president, you throw out a lot of crazy ideas. I actually ran for office in grade school. I wanted to be in student council, right?
Okay.
So I promised that we were going to get strawberry milk because regular milk is whack, and everybody had chocolate milk, right? Right. So I ran on that platform, strawberry milk for everybody, because I love some strawberry milk.
Now, how did that work out for you?
I didn't win. And primarily because during the debate, the opponent said, "So have you talked to the cafeteria about the strawberry milk?" I'm like, "Nah, we'll sort that out."
Look, man, don't ask me about all these details. Just know that I'm ready to make it happen. And if I'm
gonna make it happen, right? The reality was strawberry milk wasn't even available on a school lunch basis, right? So, it wasn't even going to happen, but it sounded good. It was an excellent platform, and I lost, okay? Joe Biden ran under multiple platforms. The neat thing about the Democrats, they just love giving stuff away, right? They're super big on giving out money and free schooling. And, I love Bernie Sanders with free college for everybody. Man, the theory sounds awesome, okay? But until you figure out how to pay for it, it may not be a good idea. So the title of today's show is how Joe Biden's proposed $15,000 tax credit will destroy the real estate market as we know it today. I know. And listen, this is not going to be anti-presidential. Joe Biden is, in fact, my president because I'm a proud member of the United States of America. The race is over. I disagreed. We voted him in. That's how the system works. But I got to tell you, this is a horrendous idea. Okay, now here's the thing. As a foreclosure deals coach, do I want the market to collapse? Let me think. Yeah, kind of. I mean, we got to be honest about it. At the end of the day, it's a horrible idea, but if you're listening to this side of the show as a fellow real estate investor, it could be the greatest thing that ever happened to us. But let's talk about why it's a bad idea. Okay, on the surface, giving buyers a $15,000 tax credit to buy properties seems like a good idea. Okay, you incentivize the market, but I gotta tell you, we did this once before under President Obama.
Okay.
Now, a lot of you may be too young to remember that regime, but at the time they were offering an $8,000 tax credit to potential home buyers. And I gotta tell you, I have never had more success in the real estate industry than I had during Obama's tenure as $8,000 tax credits. People were beating themselves up to buy properties, okay? And they were all doing so, partially because they needed a place to live, which was the idea to incentivize the market, right? And partially because, hey, free money.
For sure.
Right? If you're going to buy a house, you might as well get paid for it. Right? So during the time that it was going on, it was absolutely awesome. But we didn't know, like we know now, how artificially inflating any market is long-term going to be disastrous for the market that you're screwing with. Okay? If you're listening to this this week, in the next couple of weeks or so, you probably heard about the big GameStop stock manipulation thing that's going on. Okay? If you didn't hear about it, let me give you a quick synopsis. We're going to tie this back in, okay? GameStop's out there trading normally. Big hedge funds buy a bunch of the stock, right? And then they put it out through social media channels to start buying. Well, here's the thing. You've got the cyber geek world out there that just loves GameStop.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's a brand they can get behind. When they're not out there Facebooking it, they're on their PlayStation 5 shooting it out, right? So this is a brand, a company, they knew they could get the appeal of a social media following pretty fast, okay? So they put it out there, buy GameStop, buy GameStop, buy GameStop. GameStop goes up by 900% in the matter of a few days, okay? And then right when it peaks out, the market steps in, shuts down trading to private investors on sites like Robinhood. I have a Robinhood account as well. Locks out the private investors, lets the hedge funds continue trading like nothing happened. Market manipulation? Yeah, like maybe. Or maybe you get what you pay for. Right? The thing about going into market manipulation like this proposed tax credit is going to do is it helps the big investors, the massive banks who have now been funded with trillions of dollars in these stimulus packages, just trillions of dollars, not all going to banks, but they're sending out all this stimulus money, right? And a lot of it is going to banks. Interest rates on mortgages are at all-time lows. At the time you're listening to this, the average rate is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 to 2.75 today. Okay, below 3% rates. In Colorado Springs, Colorado, where I do the majority of my investing, there are currently just under 200 homes, single-family residences in the entire city of Colorado Springs, which is a town of nearly 700,000 people. Okay, we are in, by all sense of the word, a market frenzy right now. And yet, and again, this doesn't necessarily apply to all markets across the board. Obviously, as the president, you got to look on a national scale, not a local market scale. But I would tell you, as an agent who's pretty well connected to the investing market as a real estate investor across the country, most places in the country are reporting very similar things, okay? Where the market is at low inventory because rates are low and because it's really tough to move right now. Right? People don't necessarily want to do showings. So would-be sellers are far more hesitant to put their homes on the market right now with the probably valid concern of coronavirus and marching a couple, 30, 40 strangers into their house to check it out. Okay.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
The combination of that means there's a inventory shortage like we haven't seen in quite some time. Okay. Interest rates and coronavirus, the perfect inventory storm. And now, of all times to propose something like this guy wants to come in and throw fuel on this fire that's already burning out of control by paying buyers $15,000 to buy a house. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you not be for that? Did I say I wasn't? I just said it's going to collapse the market. Hi, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. One question I'm asked all the time is, how do I get started in real estate investing? Here's the thing. In order to get into the game, you got to have access to the big data that drives the real estate market. After all, you wouldn't trade stocks without a trading platform, and you shouldn't get started in investing in real estate without dealhunter.io. Dealhunter.io is an application that I use daily to find the best deals in the real estate market, to provide that information to my lending partners so I can fund those deals, to know how to fix those deals, to bring them in line with the market, and most importantly, how to sell those deals at a profit. So if you're looking to get started in real estate investing, head on out to dealhunter.io and sign up for a free 7-day trial of the PropStream application that'll separate you from other competitors of the real estate market. With that, this is Donnie Corum from dealhunter.io reminding you, don't buy a house, buy a deal. You heard what I'm saying here?
Oh, okay.
This is an accelerant to a fire. If you incentivize an already hot market, it will get hotter.
Right.
If you make something that's hot hotter, You will drive things to prices that are already unaffordable and will tend to get worse. And not if, but when the banks get tired of trading in BS mortgage paper, because that is the true market that we're talking about. You see, most people do not buy a house. Here's fact. When you're buying a house, how many people, if your average price is $300,000, how many people have $300,000 to buy a house with?
Not
Surprisingly few. Me either. Right? So most people do not buy houses. What they are buying is the mortgage paper. The market that is trading behind the scenes is the mortgages. And all the time, you've got buyers of mortgage paper and sellers of mortgage paper. Well, right now, it's a little tough to sell the mortgage paper because who wants to make 2% interest? No one. You can make more lending that money if you're a bank to credit cards, 16%, right? Cars, which have dropped down to 0%, but if you got bad credit, you could still pay 12, 15% for a car loan right now. Private loans. Have you seen how many business loans the SBA is throwing out right now? Okay. There are so much better places to invest that money than mortgage paper right now that the mortgage market has all but ceased up in a lot of ways. People are buying, they're funding mortgages and they're keeping that paper. That's referred to as servicing the loan in-house. I'm not saying they're not selling any mortgage paper. I'm just saying a lot less mortgage paper that is usually sold is being sold right now. Okay. So as a result of that, today, rates are low and everybody's kind of happy. But if rates go up, that mortgage paper at 2%, even going to 3%, becomes even less valuable. And now the banks know what you and I already knew, that the market is oversold. We have too many buyers in the market and prices are at all-time highs pretty much across the board in the United States of America, driven by a low interest rate causing inflation, which is driving up the prices because it's so easy to finance a $400,000, $500,000 house when rates are at 2%. But if rates go up, when rates go up, that paper becomes less and less transferable. The actual asset, the house that is trying to transfer from the seller who just bought this property 2 years ago for $300,000 is now trying to sell it maybe with a little appreciation for $310,000, is now facing 3 and 4% interest rates, which just 2 years ago were normal. Right? He's got to sell this property for a nearly double interest rate to what he bought it at.
Doesn't sound that doesn't sound good.
It's not good. Okay. And all of this is going to add to the inflation. The moment that $8,000 tax credit hit the market, it wasn't like a gradual appreciation thing. Okay. When you added an $8,000 tax credit in the Barack Obama administration, you could look at the charts and see an almost instant increase in the prices of homes by, wait for it, $8,000. Okay. You do that again, you raise the market by 15,000, you're talking in a median price market, $300,000, you have increased the average home by 5%.
And I mean, we were talking on one of the last episodes how just the market in general has seen, what was it, like a 10% increase?
Correct. We're going up 10 to 12% a year now as is. And you just add another 5% incentive to that? Guys, this is a perfect storm. And I need you to hear it here now. Listen, it'd be tough for me to sit here and tell you I'm not excited about it. I'm out there doing my shopping because when, not if, but when this goes under, those of us in the know, much like the GameStop hedge fund buyers, those of us in the know are going to rake it in. I'm not worried about me personally. I am, however, worried about the market that we, at least our government, should be incentivized to protect, not to destroy. What is the motivation here? Why are the Democrats, led by Joe Biden right now, so hell-bent on destroying the economy that was created. And listen, we could have a debate about that for days, weeks, hours, yada, yada. Well, Trump's an idiot, yada. It's fine. Here's the thing, right? We were running out of control anyway. I'll own that, right? Stock market, $30,000 Dow, right? Interest rates down to the 2% rate. House appreciating 10 to 12% a year. One could make the argument that under Republican rule, take Trump out of the equation, okay? Under the last administration, we were running unchecked, but man, these have been good times, have they not? Why are we so hell-bent on destroying that now?
Good question.
Redistribution of wealth.
Agenda 2030.
That's it. That's where we're at. We are in a process where the one side of the equation, on almost every case, the Republican presidents boost the economy up, and the Democratic presidents find a way to reduce the economy to normal levels. To some degree, for the better of the country, right? Maybe you keep your foot on the gas for too long, which was definitely the last president's goal. You are setting yourself up to blow the engine. Maybe that's the factor. Okay, and I'm not an expert in economic conditions, so I can't tell you if that's the case or not. I am willing to entertain the ideas of another side because I don't think you should be closed off because you don't like a guy. Okay, right. So at the end of the day, I'm willing to entertain both sides, but I'm also genuinely concerned that pulling the carpet out from under this market, under the guise that they're here to help, really worries me. And I want you to sit and think about this for a minute, okay? A $15,000 tax credit is awesome for first-time home buyers, but where I'm from right now, first-time home buyers are in situations that are already fighting against 20, 30 offers, competing offers, houses going $40,000, $50,000 over asking price. They're already in a shootout. You incentivize a market if it needs it, and it doesn't need it right now. So I sit here today as your foreclosure deals coach and not an economic expert, but as a guy who has seen something very similar happen before. But the big difference under the Obama administration was when they incentivized it, it was after the collapse. Do you see the variable? See, he was setting this up in 2008, 2009 when the economy was slow and it was a much needed stimulus to get things moving. We're already psychotic. We're already way out of hand. You don't add fuel to this fire right now. You cool it off. And one surefire way to cool it off would be to increase the interest rates, which sounds like we're protecting the banks. We're not. We're protecting the market. Stop printing money. Because printing money, sending out trillion-dollar stimulus packages this is not even a Biden thing. This is just our government in general, okay? Seems to be in this mindset of handing out an ungodly amount of money right now, okay? Stop printing money, normalize the interest rate, stabilize the market, because if we keep going up at this rate, the only place a market on a trajectory at the level we're heading on now is to go down. Period. The end. And obviously, if you're listening to this 5 years from when I'm recording it, you're going to say, well, yeah, that guy really called it. No, listen, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So I can't tell you when. I'm just telling you we're going to accelerate that process a lot faster with a $15,000 tax credit. So if you're wondering which side of it I'm on, despite the fact that, I'm going to benefit a ton financially from a collapsed market because I'm a real estate investor. You're a real estate investor. If you're listening to this show, right, we are going to benefit. I got to tell you, I'm not for it. I'm absolutely anti-tax credit. Okay, I think it's going to be the doom of the market. And the problem with that doom is when they pulled the $8,000 tax credit out from under the market for about 6 months, the buyers who, you got to remember, retail buyers are not watching the news like we are. They're not following the administration. Until this election, most people didn't give a rat's ass about politics at all.
For sure.
Right? So most of the time, they're not even paying attention. They don't know what's going on. They're just part of a market manipulation system that ultimately is going to cause them to buy a house well over market and then be stuck with it and facing foreclosure a few short years from today. They don't know how they're being played, much like our GameStop geeks didn't know the hedge funds were having fun at their expense.
Now that was going to be my question. Is
Okay.
We never buy houses here. We always buy deals.
That's right.
If they introduce this $15,000 tax credit,
Okay.
would you be able to use that to potentially buy a deal, or is it going to still have those same like restrictions on maybe foreclosed properties or distressed properties and different things like that?
Good question. Thank you. No, listen, here's the thing. The tax credit applies to all purchases for first-time home buyers, as I read it. Now, let's keep in mind this is proposed legislation. It's not real yet, okay?
Right.
But as I'm reading it, you'll be able to buy any house or deal that you want to buy. The restrictions come from the lending product that you're using. Right. For instance, FHA, which a lot of civilian first-time home buyers utilize, has certain condition requirements that a lot of foreclosures, not all of them, don't check off foreclosure just because you're worried about FHA condition. A lot of them will in fact qualify for FHA loans, and a lot of them won't. You know what I mean? So it does limit some of your buying power there, but no, can you use it to buy deals? Absolutely. The reason I told you I did awesome in the old 2008 era, we were coming off a market where there were a ton of deals in the market. They were everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And I was saying, not only can you buy this thing $40,000, $50,000 below market, but they're also going to give you $8,000 to do it, right? Doesn't get too much better than that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but currently there aren't a ton of deals, but I believe there will be coming up. We are barreling towards a foreclosure crisis. My argument for today's show is that it's going to get worse faster, right? But that being said, when you build $15,000 into every single house, they all become deals in a way. Right. Now everything's kind of a deal.
Right.
But when everything's a deal, not everything's a deal anymore.
You gotta have a in-depth knowledge of how to find deals and how to analyze them, and have access to smart people or potentially foreclosure deals coaches who might be able to give you some information on how to do that. So keep your eyes out for people like that, and make sure that you listen every week to podcasts who tell you how to find foreclosure deals.
Absolutely. Again, a little self-promotion there, but it really goes to show, again, wandering back to the GameStop situation, those in the know are all going to be fine. I'm not like this sophisticated stock trader, but I saw that manipulation and did not get in. Now, part of me regrets that I didn't make a 900% return. That same part of me realized that a lot of people aren't going to make any return at all because they pulled the plug on it. And now the individual traders can't get out of the stock, but the hedge funds are fine. Was that the intent from day one? Probably. Let me tell you, the individual investors in the houses right now are being manipulated. The thing about the housing market is it's slower. It doesn't happen in a few hours like it does in the stock market, but it is happening. It's happening in real time right at the moment. And the major players, the investors of the world, you and me, as investors in this marketplace, we stand to benefit from it because we're on the other side of the equation. But I am genuinely concerned about my fellow man here. I am genuinely concerned about the independent, not in the know home buyer who's going to get wiped out on this new term. Right? And what worries me more, because I'm going to survive it, is really that our government, who we're supposed to be paying to watch out for these people, are the ones lighting the match. Okay. And that bothers me. Am I going to enjoy the riches and wealth this is going to throw off? You better believe it.
Ferrari, here I come.
Without second thought, man. But I think our government should stop it now before it gets out of hand, because it's fixing it out of hand. So I need to, I want to wrap up with this because we don't want this to go too long, but guys, give this some thought. This tax credit may be the single match that lights this thing up and blows the entire market to holy hell. It could be. And maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm Chicken Little. The sky is falling. Hey, Donnie, why you got to be such a buzzkill, man? 15 G's, it'll be cool. Because I've been there. And that is the benefit to have been in another market 12 years ago that clearly we have forgotten completely about. It wasn't that long ago. We were repeating all the same errors. Interest rates too low. The subprime market's coming back up. Inventory shortage. We're doing all the same stuff. So do you really expect we're going to get a different result? I don't. And I want to make it clear that you heard it here first. I really want to get credit for the scoop, So, if Fox Business or something wants to interview me, reach out to Jonathan. Because I told you so. Seriously. There's no way that this is going to be good for the market long term. And if you are a listener to the show because we love y'all so much, I want you to become a part of it. You should be on my side of the equation too. Do not be a retail investor in this market. Focus even more on buying a deal, because when the market corrects, you'll be relatively unaffected. You are part of the educated, part of those in the know. You're on the right side of this equation by very virtue of you hearing my voice right now. Okay? You're going to be fine. I'm not trying to freak you out. Just be aware of what's happening. Right? It's a lot of changes in a very short period of time. It's hard to keep up unless you're paying attention. And I love to tell you, I'm watching all the legislation Biden's throwing down. I ain't got time for all that.
They signed like 17 or 18 executive orders this first day. So yeah, that'd be kind of
a lot of stuff going on. Can't keep track of all of it. Don't need to. Country's gonna be run by the people who are supposed to run the country. But as it affects the housing market, I'm paying attention, because the housing market affects all of us. Some positively and some negatively. Which side are you on? With that, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach, reminding you all now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.
Want more of the Foreclosure Deals Coach? Hit subscribe and stay tuned for more of the mindset, methodology, and tools you'll need to invest in foreclosures. Visit foreclosuredealscoach.com and text DEAL to get a list of foreclosures in your area.